Hello, fellow collectors, and welcome to Long's Toys. Today we are taking a look at Voyager class Autobot Hot Rod from the Transformers Studio Series 86. So basically, this is a whole like subline because normally with the Studio Series they all have their own individual numbers. In this case, they're doing the 1986 animated Transformers the movie, and so they're all 86, but then they kind of have a sub number. So you can see it's 8604. So the line is kind of being called Studio Series 86, and then they all have their own kind of individual number in that subline. So in any case, this thing looks fantastic. I am really, really excited about this line. It's a chance to get a lot of really great figures that we've needed for a long time. Don't get me wrong, we've had our share of hot rods, but there's a Jazz in this line that looks phenomenal. A really nice Grimlock. So I'm very, very excited. I hope we're going to get the rest of the Dinobots as well. But you can see the vehicle mode, the robot mode, and he's kind of got all his like accessories from the movie. He's got the little visor that comes down. He's got the saw blade arm. Kind of stuff that they would usually give you with a Masterpiece figure. You can see the Matrix in here. So it's like a little masterpiece for an affordable price. This was $30. I got this at Target, surprisingly. It was out early and the system let me buy it. I was very excited. I think the street date for these at Target is February 1st. I think most other places it's April 1st, so I don't know. They've kind of been trickling out. Some online stores are getting them early. Like I said, I found this at Target. I haven't really seen them at any other retail stores besides Target. So if you're looking for it early, that's where I would I would check Target first. But yeah, I'm really excited for these, and Hot Rod is one of my favorites. Ever since I was a kid, the '86 movie I watched over and over and over and over and over again in my youth. So Hot Rod was definitely one of my favorite characters, and this to me looks like a little mini masterpiece. So I'm very, very excited. I'm gonna go ahead and get this guy out of the box here, and we're gonna take a closer look. So here he is with a little backdrop that comes included in the box. As you can see, it is from the end of the movie when he is battling Galvatron inside Unicron. Spoilers if you haven't seen it. Definitely need to check this movie out. But here he is holding the Matrix accessory with this kind of glowing accessory you can fit onto it. And we'll get into the accessories a little bit more later. But I just wanted to kind of create the classic "Now light our darkest hour" scene from the movie. Fantastic. Absolutely love this. Really, really cool accessories included in the backdrop included. Looks great. So here's Hot Rod out of the packaging, and he looks fantastic. I really can't get over how good this toy looks. I mean, the first thing is the lack of kibble. He really does not have much car kibble at all. He does have a little bit of a backpack, but he has that trademark wing, so you don't even really notice it, and it doesn't really hang over his butt or legs or anything, so I don't even really think it's a problem. And it just looks so good. Let's get a real close-up look here at the head, because they did a really nice job with that sculpt. I'm going to try to tilt this up a little bit. It looks like it just jumped out of the movie. I mean, it is fantastic. The paint on the chest looks real nice. Autobot symbol looks great. Really, really sharp. Head's on a ball joint, so you have a little bit of front to back. Not really a rock back and forth. I guess a little bit, but then you can certainly side to side. So nice ball joint there. You have a hinge here in the shoulder as well as a swivel, and you can kind of move this. They did kind of like bevel out a little bit. It's probably not going to show up real great, but right there you can see how they kind of beveled out a little bit of the arm so that you wouldn't have these problems, with the shoulder articulation when you want to hinge at different angles. So that's really nice. I appreciate that. Very nice forethought. You do have a 90-degree bend in the elbow as well as a swivel, and then you can swivel the wrist. You actually open the hands. The fingers are all one separate piece, but they do open, which is a really nice touch. You can swivel at the waist. You can kick out to the side, kick all the way to the front. You stop about there, kicking backwards in the hip. You do have a thigh swivel. You have kind of a double jointed knee going on. You can see the yellow. I do kind of wish they didn't use yellow here. I mean, I guess it makes sense because these hips are yellow, but I wish it was just orange, so it just kind of blended into the leg better because it kind of sticks out. You don't have any kind of swivel in the knee, but you do have an ankle tilt. And then you do have some front and back. Now, that's mostly for the transformation, but you do have some there. And I apologize, my lighting's being a little weird, so hopefully it fixes itself. There we go. But yeah, he looks great. The articulation's fantastic. The paint applications are fantastic. Like I said, almost no kibble whatsoever. He just looks really, really good. I absolutely love him. Let's get into some of his accessories here. So he does have 2 blasters, painted silver. I believe they're molded in red and then painted silver. But they look good. Nicely detailed. They look similar, but they're not exactly the same. You can see the end of the barrels there. Very different. These just peg into the hand, no problem. You might want to open up the fingers a little bit just to make it a little easier, but I think you should be able to just drop it right in. And he wields these pretty easily. You can actually store them on the back as well. And I always do this where I accidentally open up the forearm section. You can see these 2 little slots here. You can use these pieces on the side here to peg them in. So you can store that on the back. And you can do the same with the other one. So we'll go ahead and peg both of these on for right now. That'll come into play in a second while we explore some of the other features that he has. Now, I mentioned a second ago that I was accidentally opening up the forearm cavity here. This actually opens up, and then you can swivel the fist around and close it back up. And he's got the little fixing tool, I guess, soldering iron, welding tool, whatever you would call that. He uses it in the movie when they land on Quintessa to repair Cup. So he's got that little kind of fixing hand. And then you just open this back up and then swivel this back around to get your fist back. Over on this side, similar deal. Swivel this one around. And you have this kind of large peg, which I think we all know where this is going. You have the saw blade attachment. I'm kind of glad that they didn't just try to make the saw blade fit inside the forearm, because I feel like it would not have been big enough. And this does spin, of course. So that's pretty cool. I like that quite a bit. He also has these little effect pieces for the smokestacks, I guess, whatever you would call these. Exhaust ports, I'm not really sure what you would call them. But this can peg on here, because during the movie he does kind of fire lasers from them, so you can kind of recreate that scene on Quintessa when he's fighting the giant squid and he's trying to cut the tentacles away with this one and then shoot it in the eye with his stack cannons, whatever we want to call those, arm cannons. So that's pretty cool. They do give you an effect piece for both sides, so you can mount one on each, which is very, very cool. Let me take this off. It's a very, very snug peg with the saw blade attachment there, but that's good. Don't want it to be falling off. Now, I will say, when you try to move the wrists, a lot of times it will kind of pop these up, and the way it works is there's a little peg right there, and I should say a peg hole right there and a little peg right there, so it does peg them in, but they can pop open a little bit, but it's not a big deal. Now, we have those guns on the back. There is actually a 2-slotted area here on the saw blade. It's on both sides, and you can peg that onto the 2 pegs on the other side of these guns here. So if you wanted to store all of this stuff on the back, it doesn't stay brilliantly, but it kind of works a little bit. I don't really want to have all this storage on the back personally, but it is meant to work, and maybe I have to switch the order of the guns, but it's not wanting to stay. But it does peg on there, so you could store all that stuff on the back if you choose. Like I said, personally, I think it takes away from his aesthetic. I just like the kind of clean back there, so I'm going to leave that as is. The other accessory, of course, is the Matrix of Leadership. Now, unfortunately, there is nowhere for this to fit in his chest. And you can see it's kind of hollow on the back here. But it's painted nice. Nice gold, nice silver, that blue translucent plastic in the center there. And then, as I showed off previously, you have this effect piece here. That it's just these 2 little tabs that clip on the sides. So you just kind of pop that on there. And then you have the Matrix kind of exploding open, which I think is a really cool effect. That's really, really nice. Like I said, there's nowhere to store it in his chest, which is a bummer. But at the same time, you know, Hot Rod didn't really have the Matrix in his chest. So, you know, you're really only recreating, 30 seconds, maybe not even in the movie, where he's Hot Rod holding the Matrix before he transforms into Rodimus Prime. So I guess it makes sense. So that's it for his accessories, but he does have one other feature here. If we go in and take a look at the head, there is a hinge in the back here. This lifts up, And you can flip out these little shades that cover his eyes and then close back up. So you can recreate that one scene in the movie where he's looking at the incoming shuttle and realizing there's a hole in the side. And then he tips off that the Decepticons are on board in a Trojan horse style invasion. So, pretty cool. I like that it has that. It's a simple little feature, but I think it works, and that's something that the Masterpiece had. So, like I said, when I compare this to a mini Masterpiece, it really does have all of those little features, which I think really make it fantastic. I also wanted to do some size comparisons real quick. This is Hot House, so you can see he's definitely closer in size to a Deluxe, even though he's in a Voyager packaging. I think the reason they gave him the Voyager size class due to the amount of paint and love and engineering in the transformation, and certainly the number of accessories. I think it just made sense to kind of upscale him. He's slightly taller than a Deluxe, and he certainly comes with enough paint and accessories to at least make him 25. But since there's no size class for that, they just put him into 30. I think he's worth it, honestly. I think the amount of love that they put into this is very apparent, and I'm happy to pay the price that they have asked. Now, I will do a quick comparison. Where did I put him? Here he is. Here is Cyclonus. Now, this is from the Kingdom line, but obviously he is also from the movie. And now that's a Voyager. That's a true Voyager size next to Hot Rod. So you can see he's definitely shorter than a Voyager. Definitely more in keeping with the Deluxe. But I'm okay with it. Like I said, I think it makes sense. And I think for the amount of paint applications and accessories they gave him, I think the price point is fine. I think it's fair. But happy to have some more 86 alum characters to pose him with. I'm looking forward to the rest of the 86 line. I guess technically Siege Springer is kind of already. I don't think they'll give us another Springer, so I have to fish him out of wherever he's at, but I could technically put him with Springer for the time being. And I don't think we're going to get a new RC. I think the reason they re-released RC in the Kingdom line for Wave 2 was because they knew they weren't going to do an RC for Studio Series, but they wanted them to kind of be on the pegs at the same time. So if someone's in the store buying this, they can look over at Kingdom CRC and go, oh yeah, they're in the movie together, and buy both of them. At least that's my thought on the matter. But I don't think we're getting a new RC. Unfortunately, the one we got recently was not that great, and I don't really know what else they have to do with RC. So I don't know. I mean, a Masterpiece also recently came out. I don't know how that would scale with these, but I think that'd be a little bit bigger. But I don't know. In any case, this guy's great. Let's go ahead and get into his transformation. Transformation for this guy is very cool. The engineering is really impressive. We're going to start off by unpegging this, bringing it to about here, flipping it around 180 degrees, and then pretty much just bringing it down here. And that's going to pretty much sit here for the rest of the transformation. I'm going to bring it up just a little bit, kind of hang it down like that. Then we're going to start by taking this and bringing this down, and then you're going to flip out this whole section here like this. You can kind of lift this up because I think it'll make it easier. Flip this part out here like that. Then you're going to spin this. You can see the joint is right there, or the spin piece, or the plastic tab is right there. You're going to keep this out of the way, but spin this 180 degrees like so. That's the mushroom peg I was talking about right there. You're going to spin Hot Rod's head 180 degrees and then rotate that down into the body. Now, if you haven't guessed already, this is a false chest plate. That is not actually what's going to become the hood of the car. That is actually going to be over here. So you're going to bring this, make sure this clears, and then bring this up like this, and then that will kind of peg in there, and then you can see there is the hood of the car. At this point, you're going to come down here to the legs, and you're going to spin this at the waist 180 degrees. Make sure that can all clear there like that. And then this part's actually pretty cool. So you're going to unpeg this. This is going to open up to about here. This is going to flip out from inside. And then this is going to flip all the way around, and you'll hear it kind of peg into place. Then you're going to fold the foot down like so. You're going to, not at this one, but at this one, and this is why it has the double jointed knee. You want to kind of pull them out to the side to give yourself some room. This is going to flip around Oh, you know what? I did it at the wrong part. No, I did it at the right part. This goes like this. This will come around and clip like that. And then you just kind of straighten everything around. So that's how you condense the legs down. So one more time. Flip that open. This part will accordion out as well. And then you'll hear it snap into place. Fold the foot down. Bend this at this joint here. This will come around. This will flip around. It's just making sure everything clears, but that clips into place. This comes down like this, and now you can see you have pretty much the rear of the car here, like so. Now I swear the directions tell you that these big yellow tabs on the wing are supposed to peg into these hexagon peg holes right down here. I don't see how, and I don't see why it would need to. So, unless I'm reading the directions wrong, they tell you to do that, but I'm going to tell you don't bother. How this works, there's tabs right here and here, and they're going to go on the inside right here and here. So you just bring this down, and then you can also see there's tabs here that will fit inside, well, like, let me bring this down, like in here, the lip of the red part of the leg right here. So this is going to come up and peg in, and you can see how that snaps on like that. And you can see that those yellow pieces kind of rest on top of those peg holes, but they definitely do not peg all the way down. And I would, warn you against trying, because I really think that would just break everything. I don't see the reason why I would need to do that, and I swear the directions are a little weird. Now, I don't know, maybe is this supposed to go down further? Because I do feel like this doesn't quite look right. And I feel like there's a double joint there, but I think you can just kind of move that up. There you go, that's a little better. All right, so coming around to the arms. Let me zoom out a little bit here. So we're going to straighten the arms out. This piece here is going to flip around like this. And you can see how it kind of has a nice little hexagon spot to kind of hold it in place, which I appreciate. This is going to spin around 180. This is going to come around like this. And you can see that there's a tiny little tab spot right there on the inside of the forearm. Right there. That's going to tab in right there. So let me zoom out a little bit. This is going to come around, peg in like that. The two silver stack pieces are going to peg into each other. And then this is going to flip around and fill that tiny little space area. Why is it not doing it? Okay, why is it giving me an issue here? Do I have the hand doing something wrong? There we go. I must have just had the hand up a little bit too much. So just make sure that these peg into each other. And there you go. There is the side of the car. So repeating this, flip this around, spin that 180, make sure the hand is in the spot where it's supposed to be. Spin this around, peg that in, peg this into that, put this in the spot where it's supposed to go. And again, I don't really know why the hand is giving me trouble. It didn't used to do that before. There we go. Make sure that is pegged in. Why are you not pegging in? Okay, I think that should be good. Then, last step, flip this open. These little pieces here will flip out. And you can see that they have a little tab right here. That's going to tab in right there. So this is going to come around. Make sure that tabs in. Repeat this one over here. And then close this back up. And there you go. There is the vehicle mode. I have to fix this one side a little bit. I think I have something misaligned, but there we go for the most part. So here is Hot Rod in vehicle mode. I think he looks fantastic. They did such a good job with this guy. Really, really, really well done. Now, he does have a little bit of the feet sticking out the back, which I do think looks a little weird, but it's kind of underneath the wing, so they don't really jump out at you. It's not super apparent. And if that's the only thing wrong with it, I really can live with that. I really don't think it's a problem whatsoever. They did a really nice job. He looks great. I'm really, really happy with him. Now, you can still store the weapons here if you want to peg them in to the front. You can go ahead and do so. And then if you still wanted to put the saw blade on the top as well, you could do that. Again, I think that looks a little busy, but it is possible, as you can see. You could technically even put them up here still if you want, because it's the exact same connections. So that's where we stored it when it was on his back. So if you wanted to put them up here as well, you can. I wish there was, I mean, I don't know. I go back and forth. I wish there was somewhere where you could peg like a normal, 5mm peg, but at the same time, I'm kind of glad there isn't, just because I feel like it would be really gaudy if there was. But if you wanted to make this guy into Target Master, Hot Rod, obviously you would not be able to do that because there's no peg. He could hold it in his hand, obviously. He should be able to hold any of the Battle Masters or any other Target Master you want to give him. The pegs should be pretty universal, I think. But yeah, it's a really nice vehicle mode. Rolls very nice. Really, really well done. If you want to add those effect pieces here, you can go ahead and pop them on probably like this. If you want to make it look like he's going very fast. So you can peg those on there, even though normally they would peg in the front over here. But so a lot of uses for the effect pieces. All look very, very cool. Love this vehicle mode. Really nice. So I just wanted to confirm real quick, you absolutely can have him hold one of the Battle Masters if you want to turn this into Target Master Hot Rod, at least in robot mode. There's not really anywhere to store it in the vehicle mode, which is kind of a bummer. But again, I go back and forth. Aesthetically, I think it makes sense not to have included one, but it would have been nice to include one, so I don't know, I can't decide. But this guy's great. I absolutely recommend picking him up if you can find him and you're a fan of the movie at all, or just a fan of Hot Rod, or even just a fan of really well-made Transformers. You definitely deserve to pick this guy up and add him to your collection because he looks fantastic. They did such a good job. I keep using the term mini masterpiece. I really feel like that's what Hasbro's giving us the last couple waves. Basically starting with like Earthrise. Not to say that the Siege figures were bad, because they weren't. But the Earthrise figures were the like Earth alt mode, so it was the most like the original toys and kind of like the masterpiece. And the engineering has just been off the charts. I mean, they've absolutely been crushing it. I cannot wait to pick up the rest of this 86 line. Cup looks amazing. Jazz is the figure I've wanted for years. Grimlock looks fantastic. The Scourge actually looks like the best Scourge we've gotten in a long time. I'm just super pumped for the rest of this line. And this guy was a great introduction. He is absolutely fantastic. He just looks great. The engineering's fantastically done. The alt mode looks good. The paint applications, the amount of accessories. I don't really have anything to complain about this guy. I really don't. If I had to find one nitpick, this piece on the back here on mine doesn't stay connected that well. Oh, and now it's going to prove me... Okay, fine. That's fine. It wants to make me look dumb on camera. It kept popping out, and it was such a minor little thing because it still kind of stays in place. It just didn't 100% snap in. But now that it's on camera, it wants to make me look stupid. So that's fine. I got what I wanted. Now I have nothing to complain about. The one tiny nitpick I had is now gone. So there you go. This guy's great. You definitely need to pick him up. I think he's fantastic. There's really nothing I would change. He's great. I love everything about him. I'm just gushing on the figure at this point. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. And as always, thanks so much for watching.